I'm live on my channel? Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, let me fix this.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Say yes, we hear you.
Yes, we can hear you, good brother.
He's already on mute.
5 o'clock. Yo, what up, party people? Thank you for joining yet another special Zolo Mansion show. You already know how we do on this channel, man. We about to turn up information, valuable information that can be applied to our lives every day. So I want to thank everybody who took the time to join us today. Just come on in, hit the like button, hit the share button. The like button is free. So hit the like button, so we could get this discussion trending on YouTube, because people need to be in here and they need to hear what we got going. Now, you already know the game. If you're new to this channel, what we do in the first couple of minutes, first few minutes, is we promote black-owned businesses. And I think it's important that we continue to beat our own drum in terms, or I would say beat our own economic drum in terms of money, man. We got to make sure that that black dollar stays in the community more than just one time. We already know that in the Jewish community, it stays in their community and recycles in their community 18 times. It changes 18 times. In other words, from Jewish business to Jewish business to Jewish business, 18 times before it leaves their community. Our dollar stays in our community less than one time. So that's why I promote black-owned businesses. So let me get right to it. Total Package Energy, man, out of the Bay Area, out of Oakland, black-owned business. They have created a business model that I think is perfect for the times that we live in, right? What do I mean? B12 energy shot. This is a B12 shot made at the pharmaceutical grade level. B12 shot. And created so you could put it right under your tongue, goes right into your bloodstream. Vitamin C, I just had 3 of these. Each one is 1,000 milligrams. I just had one of these. And I had 3 vitamin C's and 3 B12. So trust me, don't mess around. Get your B12s, get your vitamin C, and get your Total Package Energy shot. Black-owned business, man, they doing good stuff. I've been promoting them for over 6 years now. So please continue to support this business. It's you guys who have kept this business in business. They also have pea protein. The pea protein is unflavored, no sugars added, gluten-free, soy-free, and it's vegan. And each pound of it comes with 20 grams of protein. Please support Total Package Energy. Tell them Zoe Williams sent you. Also, we got a new business to promote called Writer's Pause Coffee. Black-owned company, husband and wife. High-end coffee delivered to your crib. They don't even begin the roasting process of the coffee beans until you select which beans you want in your coffee blend. Come on, man. All of their roasters are here in America. No matter how you prepare your coffee, Writer's Pause has the right drip. Y'all need to get with them, man. And this is delivered to your home. Now, I know a lot of you guys go to Starbucks. I know a lot of you guys love the medicine ball and the frappe latte, cocoa latte, chata latte, whatever names they have. But a lot of black people have made the owners of Starbucks billionaires. Recycle that money back into a black business. WritersPause.com. If you don't believe they're real, follow them on Instagram, right? At Writers Pause. Then also, another black-owned business, X-Wolf. X-Wolf is a testosterone booster, natural testosterone booster. Maca root powder, Tonkat Ali, L-arginine, Panax ginseng root. Black-owned business. All you got to do is go to xlabssups.com. That's XLABSSUPPS.com. Tell them Zoe Williams sent you. xlabssups. Please support black-owned business. Recycling black dollars. Recycling black dollars. Just keep that in your mind. If you could buy a fly sports car that was on the level of an Audi or a Porsche or a Mercedes-Benz, or a BMW and it was black owned, would you spend your money with that company? If it was on the same level, technologically speaking, performance wise, aesthetics wise, would you spend that money with that black company, or would you give that money to Germany, to Volkswagen? Who would you give the money to? Talk to me. If there was a black owned sports car manufacturer, I would give my money to the black owned guy. We got to keep the dollars in our community. Speaking of that, CMOSbusiness.com. Zoe Williams is in the CMOS business. My team has made it a direct connect with the country of St. Lucia, the island of St. Lucia. And again, we are putting together, I would say en masse, right? Bulk, CMOS cells. If you want to start a micro business where you can create your own capsules, where you can create your own gels and sell it, we can be your wholesaler. Go to CMOSbusiness.com. We wholesale CMOS in bulk. Call 1-800-298-8513. That's 1-800-298-8513. Support the CMOS B2B, business to business opportunities. CMOSbusiness.com. You want to start your own micro business reselling CMOS? We can be your wholesaler. Call 1-800-298-8513. What else do we have here? Oh, my book. The Relationship Dismount, How to Stick the Landing When Exiting a Toxic Relationship, is available in 3 formats on Amazon.com. Now, you know Amazon gets half the money. Ever since I said, okay, I'm tired of packing and mailing them myself, they get half the money. So if we're going to make an impact and get that book climbing back up the charts on Amazon, I'm going to need my people to go buy it, especially if you haven't bought it already. Go to Amazon.com, look up The Relationship Dismount, How to Stick the Landing When Exiting a Toxic Relationship, available in 3 formats, Kindle, paperback, as well as Audible for you listeners out there. Also, my follow-up book is The Holographic Relationship. That book is available on Kindle at Amazon.com, or you can go to my website, IamZoeWilliams.com, and purchase a paperback copy. Both books are available in iBooks if you're an iPhone user. Also, I want you guys to support the Hurricane Report. Go to h-report.news. The Hurricane Report is the Al Jazeera for black folk when it comes to journalism. A lot of my stories, a lot of my current events that I reference come directly from the Hurricane Report. Please support them at h-report.news. Also, I know y'all see me rocking it. Let me put this down. I know y'all see me rocking it. This fly Ramomar gear. The Shrine of Usir. Yeah, or Asar, right? From RamomarNY.com. Very fly, black, with just having the prayers of the king on you. The Shrine of Asar, shrine of a god, right? Love this stuff from the brother Ramomar. Please support him, RamomarNY.com. Now, on to my special guest. This brother doesn't really need an introduction because he commands our respect. He commands our attention. He commands that we listen and that we learn from the many, like I said, every time I bring somebody on like this, man, this brother is a living holographic library. He is a manifestation of the Akashic records. And I'm just pleased to have the brother on, and I want him to promote his Decoding the Human Archetype webinar that's about to go down May 30th, 2020. Without further ado, Dr. Phil Valentine, my brother.
How you doing, good brother?
Come on, man. How you doing? You look like you ready for war.
Always.
Yes. Talk to me about your webinar.
Yeah, the new thing coming up is recoding
Mm.
recoding the human archetype, changing us at the DNA level, at the atomic level.
Uh-oh.
And all of the different ways they're going to come at us is what I'm going to discuss on the 30th.
Mm.
There's the new technologies are actually technologies they've been working on through DARPA for the last 25, 30 years. The so-called pandemic was a beta test. And now they're going to aerosol it. What, for the people who are not going to be taking the vaccinations, they're going to go with the aerosoling.
Aerosol.
Yeah.
You mean like what they say chemtrails are?
Yeah, like the way you would do a roach bomb.
What?
Yeah.
Oh God, here we go. Here we go. So how do people sign up for the webinar?
That's the link that I sent to you, perhaps when you, before you actually go, and I guess you're already on YouTube. They can actually go to well, I thought they would actually put it on there. If you go to my Facebook at Sanu Valentine, I just posted the link on Sanu Valentine. If they wish to get in contact with me, they can go to my website, not my website, but my email, and go to Sanu, S-U-N-N-U, that's S as in science, U-N-N-U, 777 at Gmail. And just put in the subject box, just put request webinar link. And I'll post it to you. But if it's possible for you to add it when you do go live or when you do...
Oh, we live right now. We're live right now, but I'll ask them if they can slip it in there while we're talking, while we're discussing.
Sure.
But we definitely want you guys to go to his Facebook page and just say the Facebook page one more time before we get into this discussion.
Yeah, Sanu, S-U, S as in science, U, N-N-U, my last name, Valentine.
Got it.
Just put it in there and you'll see, I just posted it. So if you want to get to the link to register, and I do recommend that you do register early because we are going to go up on the price towards the last week of the webinar. So this is the discount, and it will be an 8 to 12 hour webinar.
Got it.
People would definitely want to be on point with that because we're going to give some solutions. But we're going to also give you the heads up on what to look for.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. Let's just get right to it. What is the vaccine? What is it? What is it for? Is it really? Go ahead.
It's a vector. It's a vector weapon, a weaponized vector, where the vaccination actually begins with the test. There are actually 3 stages to the vaccination. You're vaccinated by the test first with the swab. The swab is actually doing a soft vaccination. Then you come in, if they give you the positive or whatever, then you get the first shot, and then they give you the follow-up shot. So you're actually getting 3 stages being done to you at that time. I know there's been a lot of information that pretty much follows up on what I said last year and the year before. It's now coming out that, yes, it's been true. A lot of times people were kind of, the people who are actually promoting vaccinations were going off the deep ends about what I was saying and that I was fear-mongering and so forth. But now more information is coming out to light to show that the swabs that were being used actually are tipped with carcinogenic material, with a specific carcinogen that creates cancer, as well as it contains nanodots with a magnetic potency that works with your own electromagnetic bioforce. And then there are also what are synthetic, what we call, what is the name of that? There are these fibers, these particular fibers that have been found that are not made of cotton. These fibers are what they call morgellons, and they have these morgellon fibers that they stick back and right up here in what we call the cuneiform ridge or the cuneiform plate. They take the long, what they call swab, and press up against the cuneiform plate, twisting it, and then breaking off these morgellons, or what are essentially synthetic life beings, and they end up in your bloodstream. And these dots get into the bloodstream, circulate, and stick along the sides of the blood vessel walls. So what happens is your bioelectrical field energizes these nanodots, and you give off, and it interferes with your, what you call your morphogenetic field, which is the biological field, your aura. And what it does is it interferes, it drops a signal into your aura so that you can be picked up with this new type of technology that they have that can actually pick up to see whether or not you got these nanobits in your bloodstream.
Let me ask a question, because there's this ongoing discussion about a holistic approach. I remember early on when they talked about the virus and the pandemic, and there were other countries that came up with a holistic approach for dealing with said virus. My question to you is, what can people do without having to take a vaccine or doing all of that? What can they do to protect their immune system? How do they build their immune system?
Well, you don't have an immune system. That's the first lie that they tell you. There's no such thing as an immune system. The word immunity is a lawyer's term. And what happens is they believe what you do is they juxtapose that meaning that the body follows those rules. Well, immunity is a man-made concept. It's not biologically sound. It's not even spiritually sound. You are not immune from wrong action. There is no cure. There's only consequence. So when you understand that from a natural perspective, you'll understand that you have a defensive system. And with a defensive system, that defense can be compromised. But with immunity, they tell you that, they can tell a murderer that you get off light with just a sentence, or we'll give you a new identity, and they say we'll give you immunity.
Right, for telling on somebody else, for snitching, we'll grant you immunity.
Right, so now you got immunity. You did the crime, but you're not doing the time, or you're not suffering the consequences for that crime. Well, that's what they're telling you when you get your injections with vaccinations, that they're going to give you, quote, immunity. No such thing with nature. Nature does not give immunity. Nature gives you either the constitution to be able to resist with preventative means, in the way you eat, the way you think, and so forth. And from that place that you begin to understand that the body is a microcosm of God. It is the avatar of God. So therefore, it is a built-in intelligence unit. It is a reflection of cosmic intelligence. Therefore, I give the one human red blood cell has more intelligence than all the doctors on earth. It knows what it needs to do. A fingernail cell knows exactly what to do to make a fingernail. A hair cell knows exactly what to do to make a hair cell. These scientists can't create a cell, but they can manipulate it. So what you do is go back to the creator and ask the creator, or work with the creator when it comes to healing. How do you defend yourself against this? With health. That's why we take the Juice Plus. That's why I've been on Juice Plus. That's why I've been doing Juice Plus before I do these 8 hours. That's why it's necessary for me to tell everybody about it. That's why at 70 years of age, I can keep talking the way I do and do what I do. If I didn't have that, I didn't know what I would be doing. So when the time comes, I believe that everybody, if you want to really know one of the solutions we deal with, it is the Juice Plus. And I know some of you have heard me speak about it.
Yes, please, please go into depth about Juice Plus. What is it? What is it comprised of? And where can people get it?
Well, you can talk to my wife about it. You can get in contact with me, and I can give you over to my wife. I can't do too much promoting. All I can do, because there's certain rules and regulations that come with the company, which I respect and I understand. But what I can tell you is that Juice Plus is food. It's not a vitamin, which is a stimulant, because that's what a vitamin is. It's a stimulant. It's not a nutrient. If you go to the back and you look at the back of the Juice Plus, it has a food label, not a supplemental label. So what you have essentially is home, what do you call, family farm grown fruits, vegetables, and berries. These family farm fruits, vegetables, and berries are, through a proprietary process, the waters are extracted, but
did we lose him?
The enzymes, now I can go lift, I can go bench press. It doesn't work that way. My internet is going out.
We just got you. Yeah, you just came back.
Good. And so what you're doing is, since your red blood cells renew themselves every 4 months, we give you a 4-month supply. And what happens is, what you build your blood with in that 4 months is what you will be 4 months hence. So we feed you at the interstitial and at the subcellular level. And this food is concentrated because the foods we're being given today, even the broccoli and all the things we're thinking is actually organic, they're not grown in soils that give the same nutrients as your great-grandmothers and grandfathers. So the concentrated nutrients are missing, which is why so many of us have become so susceptible to the flu. We say there are 5 seasons. There's, winter, summer, spring, fall, flu. And the 5th season is the one that they set aside, that nature sets aside to cleanse you with. So what they've done is they've weaponized a process that's natural and made you believe you're being attacked from the outside. When what you've been doing during the summertime, filling your face with all kind of filth, by the time everything closes down, because during the wintertime, all of your blood vessels begin to shrink. Now the shrinking causes a lack of oxygen that the body then says, okay, whatever is impeding it through the mucous membranes, I'll get rid of it. So that's when you start sneezing and coughing and feeling that feverish feeling, is because your body is doing a natural cleansing. But what they've done is they've weaponized the mind to believe that you're under attack. And they're using this to put in the new reset, so to speak. And that's why I'm going to be telling people what it is that people are getting ready for is, from genocide to neogenesis. Most people don't understand what I mean by that. The genocide is happening right now. Hundreds of thousands of people are being killed around the planet right now, iatrogenically, through the medical church. They are in what we call the medical church, we call the AMA and so forth. They are in the, what do you call that when the Catholic Church? Inquisition. Right now, the Inquisition of the medical church is against life. Anybody that shows health is like treated like a witch. So you're going to be pursued if you don't take your vaccinations. They're going to have passports. I heard that New York City, they tried to implement that and the people fought back. Bravo, New York. Keep up the fight. Because essentially most of these people have no clue as to what's getting ready to come down. These people seriously want to get rid of approximately 5 to 6 billion people on this planet. And they'll do it through a process, through a systematic process, and it'd be like the frog in the boiling water.
So is this
slowly but surely you will see them eradicating people. Look at what they did to Hank Aaron. Look at what they did to Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Ooh, yeah.
These people were being killed. They're being killed right in front of you. And of course, the people, their families are told to shut up. Don't tell anybody that they just got their vaccination 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 8, 10 days before that.
So this is like Agenda 21. This is like the extension of Agenda 21, correct?
Yeah, Agenda 21 through 2030 and 2050. Yeah, by the time 2030 is here, we should have everybody vaccinated and all the people that need to be killed off. Now, I'm saying things that, may disturb people. They tell me I'm fear-mongering, but what can I do but tell you the truth? How am I supposed to tell you what's happening without telling you the blunt truth? And that's what I've been doing for the last 40 years. I can't do anything else but tell the truth the way it is. And if you don't want to listen to it, it's fine. But I'll tell you, on May 30th, brothers and sisters, when you're there, you will begin to see what dire consequences we have facing us.
Wow. Wow. You said something just a moment ago that really, tied it all in when I was talking about how can we heal ourselves. And you mentioned us being an avatar of God. And as much as we are responsible for putting the right things in our body, avoiding dairy and meat and all types of other things that come along with carcinogens and all of that, it's also where we have to be careful of what we put into our minds. So you're telling me that we are an avatar of God, and if we could reach a certain level of consciousness, we have the ability to heal ourselves from the inside out. Can you talk to us about that metaphysical process?
Well, the first thing that they want to do is to subvert the ability for you to contact the God self within. The way that they estrange you from that is to introduce fear. Fear shuts down all connections to your divine self and puts you directly into the physical mind. When the physical brain goes into an overdrive for self-preservation, it's not thinking or not taking the moment to contemplate the God self. We say that in our school and in our work with our community, we say when the mind is in pain, the body cries out.
So
what
would that
do is,
I'm sorry, would that be like the psychosomatic connection?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Continue, because you hitting them hard. I may jump in every now and then with a question or two, but you're hitting them.
Please do.
Yes.
Please do. The word soma means body. And when you say soma, we teach in our school that psychosomatic simply means that the mind is creating the programming for the self. So when you are dealing with psychosomatic, soma meaning body, and of course psycho meaning the mind, when you're dealing with mind-body interaction, you introduce fear, and then the body takes over and begins to actually circumvent the operation of critical thinking in the mind. So psychosomatic is fear-based reactions to conditions around you as they apply to how you perceive them within you. So when you deal with psychosomatic programming, the cells now begin to create soma cells. These soma cells are created from what is called the protoplasm, proto meaning first. Protoplasm being body. First body is this gelatinous material that the hypothalamus and the pituitary motivates and gives orders to create cells and parts of your body and your healing from. So what happens is when you create an appetite for a particular food, and I've told a lot of brothers and sisters in my class, my students, that natural food does not create an appetite. Natural food does not create craving. Natural food does not create addiction-oriented thinking. Unnatural food creates addiction. So we have a somatic addiction to the foods that they've been giving us, because they know that the foods addict us and we want to eat the worst things. And the body has this incredible ability to conform to the worst poisons. Let's look at people who take crack, look at people who deal with heroin and cocaine. The body continues to want to live by minimizing as much damage as it can before it can no longer usher that vital force to protect itself any further. So when you're dealing with protection, as you're saying, you have to, first of all, deal with the infrastructure, the natural infrastructure of what you've been given by your Creator. And to do that, you can't just keep pumping stimulants into it. Herbs are stimulants, and they work temporarily because they're actually sapping the vital force in order to act. Anytime you take herbs, medicinals especially, what you're doing is you're robbing the vital force. Stimulants do not return nutrients. Let me say that again. As an herbalist, I know this. Stimulants do not return nutrients. So any herb that you're taking that's medicinal, you are learning to use the poison that that plant creates to protect itself in the wild. So what you're doing is you're taking the toxin of a plant so that it acts upon a specific part of your intelligence in the cells. So when you take something like comfrey, for instance, and they say, okay, comfrey is good for the liver. No, it's not good for the liver. Comfrey is a toxin, it's a poison, and the body's intelligence chooses the liver to get rid of it. Meanwhile, the liver shuts down and you don't feel the symptom. But then what happens? Nature comes back with a vengeance because she knows that what she had to deal with in the immediacy to save your life with that toxin, with that poison, she now must regenerate, take real nutrients from your lungs, from different parts of your body to compensate for what she had to sacrifice to get rid of that poison. So unless you get put in, we have a specific word. And for those of you who think I'm just promoting, Juice Plus or promoting I don't really care what you think. I'm trying to tell my people what it is that works and works for me. Okay? When you deal with taking in a toxin, always know that there's a simple rule we go by. Your body must recognize and utilize. Recognize and utilize what it is that nutrients it recognizes. It does not have to give up its life force. If you need an apple, the apple has a compensatory material that the body recognizes as living enzymic materials. So it doesn't have to sacrifice part of its blood proteins and so forth. So for instance, remember when people used to take X-Lax? Yeah. The little chocolate pieces? Why, the little pills. Want to know why you want to run to the bathroom so bad afterwards? Because there was a tincture of mercury in it. So your body said, wait, hold it. Okay, now I got to go to the bathroom. Boom, you flushed. Yeah, it worked. You're satisfied. But you didn't give it the chance to recoup the energy that would have given you the chance to pass that waste properly. Or you could have taken an enema and helped the body out, or taken a colonic and helped the body out, and put back the proper biotics by just eating the apple. Wow. But what I'm saying is we have a skewed way of looking at the body and what the body needs. All the attacks that they are going after, notice why they went after the elders. Because the elders have been fed, the crap they feed the elders in these places. There's no way that those people could have fought off against that garbage that they had. And that mRNA that they put in the body completely changes your auric field. It changes the nature of your DNA, and that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying recoding the human archetype. They don't want true humanity on the planet anymore. Now, you said something else that I want to drill down on. You said it's almost like we get addicted to the substances in the food
that's available.
Poisons.
You said
Poisonous substances.
the poisonous substance in the food, right? We get addicted to those poisons and we just can't break away from that addiction. And that's the somatic part of it.
Yes, somatic addiction.
Can you talk to me about the psycho addiction that works hand in hand with the somatic addictions? What are some of the psychic or psycho addictions that we get caught up in as well?
Well, in the thousands of clients I've dealt with, most of the somatic or psychosomatic challenges, we don't say sickness, disease, or any of those words. Their psychosomatic challenges start in their childhood. So for instance, what happens when, if you can remember, what happened when you brought home a very good report card for your mother and father? Do you remember how they used to reward us?
Yeah.
What do they give us?
Sometimes you get a little money. Sometimes
What else?
mama gonna give you a hug and a kiss and say good job.
Right?
Yeah.
What else do you get?
Oh, my brother who's the engineer over here, he said sometimes we get pizza. We get food.
Yeah, wait. Okay, here we go. You get ice cream.
Ice cream. Yeah.
Okay, now, watch this. Watch this. Now you're an adult. You remember, because it's all in the memory, you remember when you were rewarded for doing good deeds and you just got fired from your job. Or you just broke up with a loved one after what, 5 or 6 years.
There you go. You reward yourself.
This and that. All of a sudden, what do you want to do now? And the sisters can always get with me in this one. You want to get your pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream. You want to get all the things that start the endorphins to going because of what it is your memory remembers. Your somatic memory remembers that I was rewarded for this good deed. Let me reward myself. Since my mom is not here to reward me, I'm going to reward myself. So what happens? We begin to escape into that somatic cell that we created. And then we build on that.
So like like emotional eating.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So we build up a psychological addiction to the physical because, again, when the mind is in pain, the body cries out. Because usually you don't overdo anything, or you don't go to drugs, you don't go to alcohol. You're inebriating yourself so that you don't have to face yourself. And a lot of times, when you eat enough ice cream, you're gone. When you eat enough cake, you drink enough liquor, when you take enough drugs, when you do enough to escape, you escape, but then you have to come back to reality later on. Instead, people, after they've come back, that's when the suicide rate goes up, especially in these times. So psychologically, which is what we deal with, by the way, at our university is beginning on the 17th of this month, our spring semester. For those who are interested, they can get in contact with us. By the way, our website is www.uksnow.org. And if you want, you can register there for the metaphysical psychology. And we do metaphysical psychology at the highest realm, at the highest level. And we've had, the people who come to our school are not coming to learn to get a job or anything like that. They're there to learn about themselves, to enhance their knowledge of self. So when you come to our university, you'll be dealing directly with the psychological and the psychospiritual. And we show you that the intercessor between the spiritual, psychospiritual, and the somatic is thought. Once you understand the science of thought, then you can understand the connection and the disconnection from the spirit.
Come on, man. Keep going. Because I already know where you at right now. Please keep going.
Thought is actually the expression of time. Say, for instance, what we teach at our school is that there are only really 4 senses. There are only 4 senses, and there are only 4 elements. 4 factors. Actually, the 5th element is time. And most people don't understand time as the 5th element. Time is elemental, and can be manipulated. But we don't know that because the necessary organ that helps us to understand time as an element is the pineal, the epiphysis dorsi. But we have not raised that to understand that we are trapped in a time loop because our thoughts are trapped. Now, we have fire, air, water, and earth. Fire is sight. Air is hearing. Water is taste. Earth is smell. These are the four fundamental elements that are the groundation or the foundation of all life in the physical realm. The fire, air, water, and earth constitutes the W-O-R-D of God.
Logos.
It is the W-O-R-D made flesh. That's what we are. That's what they talk about, the word made flesh.
Yes.
That's what the word is. These are conscious entities as themselves. When the fire, air, water, and earth constitutes into the human avatar, they become not conscious as themselves, but conscious of themselves. And in so doing, you understand now that what links all that together, what brings all the molecules and everything together, is the fifth element, time. Without time, there is no life. There is no physical foundation in life. So when you understand how time works, you understand your thought is time.
See, and you hitting them so hard right now. I hope y'all show y'all appreciation. My brother's Cash App is up there. Please send him some appreciation. It's $SUNNU 777. When you said thought is time, of course, that took me back to my Krishnamurti studying. Krishnamurti himself said, knowledge is a reflex of memory.
Yes.
And when you were talking about the fifth element being time, that took me to my studies in quantum physics, because we were taught originally that where we live right here is the third dimension. But after Einstein's studies and his discoveries, they realized this is the fourth dimension, because time equals the fourth dimension. Height, width, length, breadth, and then time, right? Time is the fourth dimension. So this is very powerful stuff. And another thing Krishnamurti said that I think is very, very powerful. He said the highest form of intelligence is to be able to observe without judgment.
And without thought.
Do you see? So now watch this. Oftentimes our people, because as teachers and leaders, our people want to hear what they are already looking for. They want to hear a confirmation. And just like you said, listen to what the man said earlier. He said, we get addicted to the poisons in the food that leads us to a type of escape. Well, we do the same thing in entertainment. When we look to be entertained, when we look to be stimulated, that takes us away from the focus from within, how we can actually transform ourselves. So I'm listening to the brother and I'm going, wow, we've got a bunch of addictions that need to be reconciled if we ever want to unlock what's already been in us from the inception of our being, which is God, right? So we're so fearful that some other poison looks good to us, and we can then use it as a passport back into the delusion. Meaning, how many people you know so afraid to lose their job that they're going to take that shot? How many people you know are so afraid? So now fear sounds like an advisor. Like you can go to fear and say, hey, man, what should I do? And fear says, man, you know what you got to do. You got to take care of your kids. You got to pay your bills. You better stop fucking around. And all of that is now making decisions, right? It's your personal visor, your advisor. It's that you know you want to be spiritual, but spiritual, you hear it all the time. Love is not enough. Spirituality is not tangible. That check is tangible. How do we uproot this poisonous thought process that keeps us disaggregate?
Because the European man has distorted time. You wear it on your wrist now, thinking that that's what time is. Time, we teach time is the coagulant of matter. Without it, nothing exists. In matter, all things are based in time, and therefore they're based in the repetition of the cycle of existence. They're cyclic. Existence in matter is cyclic. Time is the coagulant that allows probabilities and possibilities to become.
Right.
So what we do is we study thought, and thought is an agent of time, and thought is time. And therefore, I had the pleasure of sitting at the feet of Krishnamurti when I was very young, and he was very old. And we were there with a group of people, and it was surreal how sharp his mind was in his 90s. And what I learned from that and from him is that I don't really sit back and take in information. I've codified it this way for my students. There are 4 to 5 levels that we achieve when it comes to the experiencing of being the experience of being a hued man and hued woman. There is information which is static. What we're imparting right now is information. It's static. It does not have legs. It does not move forward. Who moves that forward? You do. So information now, when taken and activated, becomes knowledge. You do not obtain knowledge unless the information is acted upon.
Right. Right.
Otherwise, it just stays there in the dust. Just like having 1,000 books and you haven't read it and you haven't implemented.
Right.
From knowledge, once you have honed knowledge and you've kind of trimmed it, because every generation takes knowledge and kind of contorts it to its own reality at that time. So when you're dealing with information which is static becomes proactive when it turns into knowledge. Knowledge, once, I guess, perfected to the point where you can actually say, yes, I have the knowledge of, that knowledge now, once you have actually utilized it and trimmed off the fat, becomes wisdom. Wisdom, as you begin to grow, because you have to remain the student, wisdom remains the student.
Ooh, wait, you can't keep going. You just wisdom remain. I don't know if y'all really appreciate what was just my man said. Wisdom remains the student. Can you elaborate, please, sir?
Well, a lot of us think that because we have knowledge that we're wise, and they don't understand that, so they think that they cannot learn anything beyond that. A lot of people who set up cults and so forth are there to make sure that your knowledge does not become wisdom. And what happens is when you do attain the wisdom, it becomes a kind of codified wisdom that you follow based upon that cult, so to speak. Catholic Church is a cult. It's a more sophisticated cult, but it's a cult. When you understand what wisdom actually represents, you understand that you know nothing. You've emptied yourself at that point. Emptying of knowledge after you become wisdom, most people want to hold on to knowledge and do not allow it to develop and to flower into wisdom. So when you do flower into wisdom, you either deal with the bouquet because it rises, and again, when it flowers, it dies back. Wisdom dies back to itself. And when you understand and understand how to operate from a space of true wisdom, that's when you attain the 4th level, which is enlightenment. So these levels are not very easy to attain, because we have what is our free will is in the way. Free will is what they call ego.
Yeah.
And That's what they want to destroy. They want to destroy your free will by telling you that you act a certain way. Oh, that person got your ego in the way. Yes, your ego is the fuel to your ego is what they call, what Freud and Jung and them put there so that they can make sure that the lesser human or lesser people don't have any smarts greater than them. Right. So they tell you that you stay in your place, stay in your lane. But the ego is the fuel of your free will.
Yeah.
It's what drives you forward to use your free will properly.
Yeah. Now, see, a lot of people don't know our history. Me and this great spirit, this great being, met nearly, or at least probably now, over 20 years ago. And it was an epic conversation. This is why I mention Krishnamurti often, because we had the Krishnamurti conversation damn near 20 years ago. We were doing a relationship roundtable here in Los Angeles, in the Valley, and it was Brother Tahuti Ma'at Ra, the famed herbalist. It was, of course, Dr. Phil Valentine. It was KRS-One. It was me. It was Cool Mo D. And we were having a relationship round. When I tell you, I wish to God we could have filmed that one, because that was so fire back then.
It was epic. We were in the temples at that time. That was the Kemetic temple at that time.
Man, that was so powerful. And for years, I have periodically brought the great brother, Dr. Phil Valentine, back on my show, whether when I was at Jamie Foxx's Foxhole Radio, Sirius XM, I brought him there. I brought him on RMC. I brought him to that. Listen, I bring him on anytime I can get him, because I know he's busy. But we mentioned the Krishnamurti thing because, like he said about wisdom being the student, Krishnamurti was having a discussion between him and the physicist, Dr. David Bohm.
Right.
When they did the book called The Ending of Time. And what he was talking about was, he said, creativity, inspiration, and all of this stuff happens in between thoughts. Mm-hmm. He said, this is what inspiration or insight might be called, the space in between a thought. Now, I already mentioned, knowledge is a reflex of memory. Now, take what we just said and what the great brother just said and put Einstein in it. Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc squared, was basically saying that matter is frozen
in time.
It is frozen energy. Mm-hmm. So now we have the ability to either identify with the energy that can be loosed or identify with the boundary that makes us a self, the ego part you was talking about. So now my question to you is, how do you live in both worlds? Both the egoic world and then the world that can access all that is.
Mm-hmm. What happens is you gain a sense of self. You trust yourself instead of what your, what do you call the animal mind. Mm-hmm. You don't trust the animal mind. The animal mind is always looking to maintain the health of the body or the long-range health of your mind. It's always looking to protect you from something that doesn't even exist. Mm-hmm. And you have to understand how we operate as human beings. We operate from a deficit, especially if you have too much melanin. You operate already under a fear-based system of reward and punishment. So that type of preconditioning, what we call preemptive consent, mm-hmm. You have been conditioned through synthetic synchronicity, we call it. Synthetic synchronicity is the way they set up the pattern for your thinking and for your reactions to take place. And from the time you're a child, you go to school, and the school is not there to free you as a human being, but to consolidate your mind into the drone-like fabric that they've structured so to maintain you in a particular place, especially when you come from a different class as they. So what we do is we free up the child, and we tell the child that, first of all, you're not going to have any electronics until you're 7 years of age. You're not going to look at TV, and if you do look at TV, look at it for maybe about a half hour. You get the program we want you to look at, but then after that, it's all about me and you getting together to understand how to develop a connection between both hemispheres of the brain. See, public, I call it deducation, not education. Public deducation centers the focus of the mind in only one place, and that is the reactive mind. What you have to do is you have to learn a certain amount of information, regurgitate it at the end, and you get dropped a reward. You either move forward, and you're programmed to not think critically, but to react and to memorize.
Yeah.
And how well your memory is will tell you what you've earned at the end. They've taken out the ability to critically think. When you introduce critical thinking into it, you then introduce a factor that the enemy does not want you to have, and that is the ability to solve your own problems. If you can solve your own problems, you become a danger to those who essentially are trying to program you so that their specialists keep you focused into the matrix. So that's why you have 10,000 specialists, and why women constitute most of the specialists out there, because they essentially do the business. What they did in the home, they became a psychologist. What do you think the concubine was to the queen? To the king. The concubine to the king was his psychologist. And so what happens now is most people don't understand that what you have, what you bring as a human being, that core, especially the children today, they give it to women. Maybe 10% of the education system has male teachers at the fundamental levels. All of them are women. Why? Because the women essentially adhere to whatever it is that they're given as the ones who are the problem solvers. So when we look at the crap that they're teaching the children, we are the ones who would rebel.
Wow. I don't.
So
say more. Say more.
They give most of the infrastructural, the societally, the socialist, the social infrastructure is run by women, because they have the mechanical mind, they have the computer brains. They'll stick with that, and that's it. As far as going forward to do anything to get the PhDs, most of them are finding it useless because the men have dropped out. It's become so feminized now, the society now, the boys are dropping out because there's nothing for them. They're going into trades, they're going into doing things that they can do with their hands, things that they math, they call it STEM, science, technology, what is the EM? The EM is mathematics and the electronics and mathematics. These STEM are the ones that the males are not being taught. They're not being taught to solve problems or to build, because those who are controlling us, those who want to crop the population of the 2 billion people, they are the ones that are bringing the women into and take care of, or to block and to make sure that nobody thinks beyond this point. You hire women to make sure that nobody gets beyond this point. Usually when they have a problem they cannot solve, when they go back to get the supervisor, 9 times out of 10, the supervisor is a male.
I think the E in STEM is engineering.
Yeah, engineering.
But it's okay. It's all right. And you're right. 9 times out of 10, the engineering or the supervisor is a man, because the man is used for enforcing. Enforcing and the problem solver. If there's something that she was not trained to do at that particular time, and of course the ones that have her, the supervisor above her as the manager, then the supervisor up above her, usually if she's the female, the supervisor above her is the male. You have to understand that we as men structured the entire society. Well, we did.
But now, because the machines are operating, they have become the new woman. The machines are the new female. They just take orders and they just spit back what you want them to spit back. So that's why you're seeing now robotics and these cyborgs, which you're going to see. Pretty much, we've already got a couple of cyborgs. The stuff they're showing you with the mechanical, that's not the. These cyborgs are more, 10 times more sophisticated and darker. So you wouldn't even tell which one is a cyborg, or people who have electronics parts who are running on batteries. You can't tell them nowadays.
Wow. So I'm really big on, and you know this about me, I'm really big on this elevation, this spiritual elevation. There are many different names for it. Some people call it, nirvana, self-realization, samsara, whatever the term they're using. Do you think that black people as a collective in this society can achieve that on an individual level so that they can graduate to a communal level of minds such as those? Do you think we have time to do that? There have been many people, right? There have been many people such as yourself teaching for many, many years. Do you think we're a lost cause in that sense, in that regard?
We're not a lost cause. What is lost is the incentive.
Ooh. Go ahead.
I mean, we have great teachers already here. Yourself, Bobby, all the brothers and sisters that are out there trying to bring the knowledge. Young people who are now searching for it and actually finding it, whatever. But the incentive to come together is gone because no one is funding all of what we have learned. You see, you can't take it to the next stage if all you're doing is grinding your wheels. We have all the knowledge. We brought all the knowledge to this plane. And right now, what are we? We are like a Maserati stuck in neutral, gunning the gas and going nowhere. All you hear is a lot of noise. I hate to say that about with the situation being the fact that I'm in it myself, trying to keep that torch lit. But until the finances come, until we are able to, look at what Bill Gates is doing. Bill Gates just bought the largest crop of land over there in the United States of America, over here. And what is he going to do? How is he taking this land, and how is he buying this much land for it so he can do farming? What kind of farming is he going to be doing?
Well,
Who's he going to be feeding?
Yeah, he has that deal with Monsanto. Him and Monsanto are in bed together.
Yeah, I mean, not even in bed. He owns part of it.
Yeah, he's funding it. Yeah. And he's also trying to dim the sun. Which, talk to us, man.
Yeah, but again, that's that smart dust I was telling you about. He wants to put up these nanoparticles, and that have this barium. Barium is like 50 to 100 times more reflective than glass. Mm-hmm. So what these balls are going to be made of, that are going to go up into the atmosphere and be spewing in the atmosphere, is going to reflect the sun back. He's not trying to stop global warming. He's trying to stop the areas where the farmers grow food for us. Mm-hmm. This is going to be sprayed all over places like India, in Africa especially. They've already tested it in Africa. They already have the weather manipulation machines. There is no meteorite coming to attack us. The only aliens that would come from this would be those who are using interdimensional travel, or they're coming from underground. All of what you're seeing that they're being pushed out there, remember, the agenda is not public. Some of the people are coming out and leaking the agenda, and therefore we can actually map or piece together what's really going on based on the effects that these small bits of information are showing. But what we have right now is pieces of what's going on. They're not telling you the whole deal. We have to conjecture, and the ones who conjecture correctly and give us the right amount of information at the right time to warn us. Because a lot of people tell me they go back to my stuff 20 years ago, and it's right now.
Right.
You see? So I'm saying people are not listening. The incentive is not there to act on the information, even though the information is there in droves.
So,
In droves.
so let me ask you this, because I'm from a different generation, and you are also from a different generation than I'm from. But I was always driven to know the stuff you talk about, the stuff Krishnamurti talks about, this, the stuff Robert Anton Wilson talks about. I was always driven to know this deep metaphysical stuff, right? I was always driven to know our history. It was something that inspired me. I was always driven to understand physics and science and quantum mechanics and all of that kind of stuff. I was driven to know that. I didn't really need an incentive. And now I see when they're handing out vaccines, they're handing out incentives to get us to take that. And for me, it just seems that we fall into such a state that we can be given an incentive to take a poison, but rebuff any overtures of someone like you or myself that would say the work is inside. And the ultimate incentive would be you growing up spiritually, evolving into what you could potentially be, which is, like you said, an avatar of God. What is a bigger incentive than becoming an avatar of God? Can we talk about the mindset that has fallen to such a low level of consciousness?
That's the part that's frustrating it was frustrating to me until I began to distance myself from the empathetic energy I used to extend to those who come to me. To watch my brothers and sisters, crash into walls of ignorance, based on ignorance, and to suffer consequences for which I could have told them to sidestep. I don't see many of our people making it. A lot of our people won't make it. I do see young people now understanding that there's no place for them to go to actually see what's going on. CNN ain't gonna give it to them. MSNBC ain't giving it to them. All they're doing is pushing pandemic. If it bleeds, it leads. All of that is just garbage. There's nothing substantive for our children. I'm hoping that the over 300 videos that I do have circulating around the internet and wherever on the plane of existence, I'm hoping that that does affect at least 1/10, because that's all the planet needs. It needs only 1/10 of the planet to come into the realization of what we need to do. And so now we have the next stage is going to be us being invaded by aliens. Be ready for that. They're priming us to be ready to, because the New World Order needs, it needs a quickening. It needs us to come together as total nation. We need all countries to be under one umbrella. So what better thing to do than to make an enemy outside of the human race?
Well, let's talk about that.
Attacking us.
Let's talk about that, because of a lot of our people don't even believe in aliens.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but what we have to do is to understand what an alien is. And we have the word itself as, first thing we think of is Mexicans. And we don't understand that, for instance, the white man is an alien to this land. Most people, and you can't talk about that because, now they're coming down on SJWs. This Black Lives Matter really screwed it for us. And they hijacked our narrative about racism. So now it's become a joke. Right. Most people look at anything attacking or dealing with the racism as some kind of SJW, social justice warrior, and you can't bring it into television or into the books, or you can't bring it into your music. You can't even. So Hollywood has taken our narrative, bastardized it, and turned everybody against it when it could have been woven. I mean, who do you think saved Hollywood back in the 60s, the early 70s? It was the so-called the black gun and
Black
jab.
exploitation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They call the what do you call it again? The exploitation, black exploitation.
Black exploitation, yeah.
Yeah, black exploitation.
Yeah.
But see, what happened was coming out of the 50s and going into the 60s, all of the so-called old stars, John Wayne and all of them were growing long in the tooth. Anybody want to go back to the movies to watch no cowboys shooting up Indians no more.
Right.
So what did the Jews do? They went to the blacks. And when you think Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Van Damme, they pimped, Black Gun with Jim Brown. What's his name? The football player.
You said him, Jim Brown.
Fred
Williamson.
Fred Williamson.
Yeah.
I mean, and Richard Roundtree.
Yeah.
All of these were they were the template for all these action heroes that white people came out, and most people don't even know about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, we don't have a narrative, and therefore the narrative would then set the incentive. What we're saying here is going to inspire a few, but they still got to go back to their 9-to-5 jobs.
Yeah.
They can't affect that because they don't own anything or they haven't reclaimed the land. Land is the beginning and end all of all what you have to, that must be in place before you can even do any building, before you can own anything, before you can say that I have something to leave to my legacy. You don't have that. You got Bill Gates have the nerve to talk about he's gonna buy up our land, and we didn't give it to him for sale.
Wow.
These guys, everything that happened today is based upon a coup d'etat.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were the first original 13 colonies. The black 13 original colonies that broke away from the black British and the black nobility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
These guys came in as we hired them. They sat at the feet of the Longhouse, built up their constitution, changed the Declaration into the Declaration of Independence to a Declaration of Independence. They did everything and pimped it, and then through overthrowing through the Civil War, overthrew everything.
Wow.
You understand that everything that's happening, all the history is really twistery, I call it.
Twistery.
Yeah, twistery.
Yes,
Twistery
twistery.
channel keeps pushing that crap to us. So what we have to do is return. We have to have our own schools. Mm-hmm. We have to teach our own children. We got to take them out of these schools and be prepared to sacrifice.
Yeah.
There's only one way. You know, he's made us dependent on him and his reality. He had to do that. That's when the Jews stepped in and coerced Martin Luther King to run this civil rights movement.
Wow.
The civil rights movement interfered with the upward mobility of so-called black people at that time, because we had our own bus lines, shipping lines, taxi lines, our own banks. That became a threat to the Jew. So he had to step in and say to Martin, hey, listen, we shall overcome. That's going to be a thing. Who do you think wrote that that last speech he did? The white man wrote that speech. And they told him he can have the $25,000 or $50,000, but he better get his ass off the stage after he says it. Because you know he says at the end, what was that famous thing he said? Free at last, thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. You see how fast he left that stage?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was told, he was given his instructions. Of course, J. Edgar Hoover got so much dirt on him, and after he began dealing with it, that's when he started saying, after he met with Malcolm, that's when he said, I think that I have, I've led my people into a burning house. Mm-hmm. They got all kinds of tapes of him in his orgies. Man, the dude had an orgy after he, I don't want to put no dirt on nobody told back, but the reality is this dude, they got dirt on him and they want to keep us pacified. Keep hope alive with Messy Jesse, all this nonsense. And you got that, what's his name, Reverend Fatback, what's his name, Reverend Pompidou.
Al Sharpton?
Al Sharpton.
Yeah.
What did he say? No justice, no peace.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
As soon as they shot that boy, and as soon as they exonerated them cops, What did he come out and say? Peace. We're gonna peace. Wait a minute. You lying sack of you know what. They're all agents. They're all agents. The only one who wasn't an agent was Marcus Garvey and Malcolm and Honorable Elijah Muhammad at that time. So you have to understand, man, we don't have the leadership. We don't have the leadership, the inner leadership. Everybody must become a Messiah. I call this you, me, everybody right now that's working on their ascension. I call us the collective Messiahship.
Yes.
You see? And that's what must happen. There must be a quickening amongst us. And that's what my webinars are about. And by the way, I'm going to be setting up my new webinar, my webinar website, which will then feature all of my webinars. It's called Webinar Archive. And the Webinar Archive will be available within the next few weeks. So be on the lookout for that. Go up on my website, www.uksnow.org, and put your email into our mailing list. You can go and you can click contact. If you have a pop-up blocker, click scroll to the bottom and click where it says contact and fill that out. Otherwise, just put it in the pop-up that comes in as soon as you log on.
Listening, no, you're fine, brother. You're fine. Listening to what you just said, right? I'm just listening, and I say, well, golly, we're in a rock between a hard place right now. It's either the sandwich or the sacrifice. Mm-hmm. You either got the sacrifice or you accept the sandwich that is extended to you from the hand of the oppressor. Mm-hmm. Now, that sandwich represents security, provisions, resources, infrastructure, everything that you didn't build. Education, economics, it's either the sandwich or the sacrifice. Malcolm said it was the ballot or the bullet. I'm saying it's the sandwich or the sacrifice. Now, how do you get a person or a group of people like us, as starved as we are, to see that a sacrifice is more nourishing than the sandwich extended from the hand of the oppressor?
I'll give you one better, brother. When you fast, aren't you doing a kind of sacrifice? Ooh. And do you come out better at the end?
Ooh, you said we need to go on a system fast.
Yeah.
Ooh, go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead, finish.
Yeah, what you do is you gotta fast fear.
Ooh. Yes, keep going.
You gotta fast all of your indecisions. Fast all of the parts of you that are indecisive and that don't trust. You see, all of these have to do with thought. We come back around, 360, the thought. Our thoughts are our worst enemy because we incubate fear in thought. And therefore, since we incubate fear in thought, we incubate fear in time. And therefore, our time is regulated by fear. So what we have to do at this particular time is to do an assessment, to do an inventory of our thinking processes, which is what we do at the university, through the University of Commission Sciences and the metaphysical psychology that we teach. Okay?
Listen, if you're just tuning in, I got my good friend, my good brother. Hey, man, I have nothing but the highest level of appreciation and respect for this brother. I told you guys, when you bring in an elder, man, that's like bringing in a holographic library. This brother right here is slapping us upside the dome piece with information. And listen, it's not about following blindly or accepting everything he says. It's about going on a journey. Find out what path he was on to get to this level, man. I'm so appreciative of Dr. Phil Valentine for coming on and sharing. We're not done with him. No, not by a long stretch. We got a couple more questions I want to ask, but this is what I want to put on our people's mind. We're over 600 people in here right now. I need all 600 of you, 600 plus, to hit that like button. hit the like button, hit the share button. If just one of you is inspired to pick up some of the books, to pick up the webinar, if you heard us mention a philosopher or anybody, a scientist, if just one of you guys are inspired to pick up some of the work and start getting on your personal path, then we were successful. But let me just say, I need everybody to go to my brother's website. We have people in the chat room, our moderators, who are actually posting your Facebook page, right? And the Facebook page is www.facebook.com/Sunnu, SUNNU.Valentine. So please go there and get to that webinar Zoom link and support this brother big time. I want you guys to cash mob him. You see that Cash App? I want you to cash mob him. Everybody in this chat room should drop him at least a 5 spot. That's 600 people. That is worth, not ain't even worth the knowledge he dropped. But please support the brother big time. And I'm just thankful that he's here. Let me ask a couple more questions before we wrap it up. Brother Valentine, let me just ask, how did Western science jack African spirituality? What did they take and claim as theirs, which was originally ours? I need to know, because there is a connection between Western science and African spirituality. What is it?
They changed the name of God.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Well, how do you conquer a people completely? A people who name their God, they're naming themselves. They're conditioning and collectivizing a term based on their experience with nature and how nature speaks to them, and how the Father speaks to whispers, and how nature storms, how nature talks, and how nature mother talks, and how nature father whispers. The whispering is the spirit. The talking is the thunder and the lightning, the breeze. The father is the light, which is the sun. The mother is the moon, which cools. We, from within, name God in our image and likeness and what we perceive God to be. When the conqueror comes and destroys you, destroys your land, the first thing he takes is your name of God, and then imposes the name of God that empowers him upon you, knowing that you and your words represent the protestations of a creator. So every time you sprout the name Jesus, you start yelling names that don't belong to you. What you're doing is empowering the Akasha with his name, his language. So the first thing they take from you is your God. And when they take your God, they take your soul, they take your mind, they take your spirit. So what did he take? He took our spiritual sciences, our astrosophic, our astrophysical, astro-theological sciences. We were the ones who mapped the sky. We read the hieroglyphics of the sky. He calls astrology today. The hieroglyphics of the sky gave us the word of God. And we had a very good talk going on for thousands of years. But now, what we put into story form, the movement of the sun around, circling above us, that was then taken and put into the New Testament with the anthropomorphization of the sun as Jesus. Jesus was his name before Jesus. Jesus Christos. Christos he took from the Dravidians as Krishna. So you have to understand that everything that was taken from us became a science to us, which was nothing more than science. He anthropomorphized it into this fairy tale and took God away from us. That's why we didn't put too many things down in writing. We would speak from ear to ear. That's why Masons whisper from ear to mouth to ear. Why? Because you can't change anything. You can't interpret it or reinterpret it or disinterpret it. So what did they take from us? They took our sciences, because when they came to conquer us, we were already using airplanes and air travel. We were already using light bulbs. We were already using all the things that he claims to have invented. These people are in the vaults. The Vatican piecemeals to those he controls. The Vatican piecemeals our technologies out to the European until, of course, you dabble with it long enough, you're going to find different ways to manipulate it and to enhance it. And that's what he's done. He's taken what is supposed to be the spiritual sciences and what is supposed to be enhancing the man. And what does he do? He learns about the microscopic world. And what does he do? He weaponizes that. You don't weaponize anything. How can you weaponize a disease? Why would you weaponize it? Unless you wanted to control it. You wanted to use it. You wanted to use the ingenuity that you had in order to control. It's not going to last very long. There has to be a cleansing. That's why you see when I speak about this, a lot of people are turned off. But that thing that you call the Milky Way, that's a suture. That's a suture. Numu was the goddess that actually closed that portal that actually was the flood that became known as Noah's Ark, or the flood of Noah. Because there's nothing but water outside the dome. Ain't nobody going into outer space. There ain't no outer space. There's only inner space. Outer space is water. Air is water. Air is conditioned water. We're air breathers, just like the fish breathe water. We breathe another form, another texture, and another conditioning of water, which is what we call the atmosphere or the air. All this is water. This is water. I sound crazy? Yeah, I do sound crazy. But you drive down the street at 60 miles an hour and then stick your hand out the window. What happens? You start feeling something like a membrane you're pushing against. Well, yeah, you're underwater. Under 1,600 pounds of square inch of water, conditioned water. You call it H2O when it's conditioned and together, coagulated. You call it O2 when it's not.
You know, it's interesting about you talking about air being water. Isn't that the meaning of feng shui?
Mm-hmm.
Feng shui means
Flow.
air and water, because they both have the same currents.
They're the same currents. Yeah.
So that made sense to me when you said it. So I didn't, I didn't push back on it.
That's the marriage between the masculine and the feminine. The masculine is air. Feminine is water.
Right.
You notice they're the two that get together when they're pissed off. It's when the hurricanes and tsunamis.
Right. That's who we are in our relationship. So let me ask you this final question. You said something about them taking the names that we originally named things, right? And then us speaking the supplanted name, right? The name that was supplanted, we speak its replacement and empower it, because we're speaking their narrative, their version of what we originally created, which I'm assuming, and I know this for a fact, has more power than their version. So with that being said, isn't the same thing happening when we're constantly blaming white supremacy for the things that they do? Or is our blaming a type of reverse supplication that's empowering their position in the world? Can you speak to that?
Very good, yeah, indeed. Only when you're preoccupied by it, but when you're facing it, you become lethal. You don't pick up a sign and start walking about, we shall overcome. That really shows how less empowered you are. Power, people of power do not walk. That's the female version of power. The masculine version of power has been castrated. With all this BS and bullshit that's going on in Washington today, you think if any scrotum was out there that people, it was actually still working and dangling, that we would actually tolerate this bullshit?
Come on, man. Still out there dangling.
We have been so estrogenized that we want to pick up things and start, you notice what these white boys who are out there who still got their testicles and brothers?
Right.
Still got their testicles, what are they doing? They're arming up.
Right.
They know what time it is. We men, that's why they want to disempower men. Men are the ones who change shit. Women don't.
Ooh.
And they put women in these places of power by giving them our power.
Ooh.
Remember, we as men sacrifice love for power. Women sacrifice power for love.
Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. You can't, listen, the referee gonna step in at some point. He not protecting himself. He not punching back. Damn, hold on. You said women don't change things, men change things. Well, would you then say if women don't change things, they are the masters of maintaining things?
Yes.
Go ahead. I just wanted to add that. Go ahead.
Well, look at what they've done to look what feminism has done to the family, which is the core power of a community, which then becomes the core power of a nation. Feminism sold a bill of goods to our sisters, and they've continued that particular rape of their minds. They don't realize that when they go into studying women's studies, that they're being raped right there. They're being molested mentally. They don't understand that. And so what happens is that right now we have a situation where where women think that they're on, what is this, TikTok and all these things, and they're saying, I make 6 figures, I got a job, I got a car, I got my condominium. What am I doing wrong? Why can't I find a man? You women really believe that your things that you gather impresses men.
Come on.
Because you're acting like men. Men don't give a damn about what you can do when you get money. I don't give a damn if you're the president of the United States, you're still a woman. That's number one. Number two, that ain't gonna change. You still gotta stoop to pee. I still stand to piss. And if you don't understand what that means, you're gonna always suffer and be alone. That's number one. Number two, women think that power attracts men. No, what attracts men is power, because we know what to do and wield it, so we seek it. We're supposed to be trained in how to wield it with wisdom. You think that a gathering power is going to bring you happiness. It doesn't. Love brings you happiness. And when power is initiated on your behalf, because men give love, women respond. Women don't give love. They don't understand love until a man activates it within them.
Wait, hold on, because he's staggering again. We got to give him a standing 8 count. Hold on. Let me ask now. Are you saying that the more power a woman gains from this society, the less attractive and the less lovable she is?
Yes, because she's acting like a man. And they really believe that their money somehow, and that's what they've been told. They've been told independent. That I'm an independent woman. Ain't no woman independent, because the whole goddamn scenario that you're undertaking and playing in was created by a man. You have power because the men gave it to you. Who do you think gave you that power in feminism? Who do you think wrote the legislation to give you that power? You didn't get it anyway. Men get power by overpowering other men. And the way that they use the so-called, the art of war, was to turn you, our beloved women that we would provide and protect. We never knew that the enemy would be sleeping with us. Talk about sleeping with the enemy.
Ooh.
The last person we didn't think would turn. See, let me just say this. We men are providers and protectors, but we're also problem solvers, aren't we? We solve problems. I mean, we solve the problem of light in your home, beloved sisters. We solved the problem of you getting from A to B by inventing the car. Wasn't a white man, there was no Ford that invented the car, it was a black man. Okay? We solved the problem of mathematics, of building bridges and doing all these things. We built boats. We've done everything that you're touching was made by a man. So you now step in and thinking that you deserve it. This is this entitlement nonsense that women have been given, which is nonsense. Old school women don't think that way. Okay? So what happens today? We have women who chase power, and they go after their career. But if you do an epistemological and entomological, research on the word career, and you come to the word combat.
Come on, man.
So, when
Come
you
on.
are pursuing a career, you are going into combat.
Come on, man.
So what I'm saying to you is, this is no denigration to our beloved sisters, because you've been taught to distrust us. That woman that you call what's her face, Gloria Steinem, she worked for the CIA.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She was funded by Rockefeller. Us magazine, or We magazine, or Femme magazine, whatever the hell she had, it was funded by Rockefeller. The white male gave the power to the white female, and then she sold it like a drug to the black female.
See, let me interject for 1 second. You say slavery, we already know was traumatic, right? It's traumatic. So typically when the whole family is under attack, what do black people usually do? We bond closer. Slavery pulled us together like, oh shit, it's just us for real. Because outside this house is them, right? Yeah. And we know what them bringing, right? So as we grow in this country, decades are passing after 1865. We're fighting for our own lands and we're fighting for our own properties or whatever. That's the one thing we inherited from that trauma, was togetherness. Here comes feminism, which is predicated on you could do this without him, and technically without them. Them meaning your family, your core.
Right.
Now,
that's exactly it.
Talk to us, brother.
Exactly it.
Talk to us.
You see, again, we knew who the enemy was back in those days. All right?
Oof.
And what did feminism do? They came in on that so-called, they were the second stage of the attack. First, they put Martin out there and got us all marching for civil rights rather than human rights. We were running for civil rights, which put us right back under Roman black law. So we didn't know that. We weren't being educated that way. Going from one slave master to another. They were turning us into taxpayers. We didn't know that. In comes the women who were actually at home, and they said, well, we need more taxpayers. Let's get her out of the home. Get her a job so she can pay more taxes. We get more tax revenue coming in. So what we did, what happened then? The two biggest leaders we had at that time was Coretta Scott King and Malcolm's wife. Malcolm Shabazz. Yes, Sister Shabazz, Betty Shabazz. Thank you, sweet.
Betty Shabazz.
What happened to them? The first thing feminism did was to snatch them. And the next thing that the government did was to kill Malcolm's grandson. Why? Because they knew that these were the women that they could actually control. They became boule.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, they became boule. It's not saying, oh, well, you downgrading, you the one that said that Malcolm's son, Malcolm was the, what do you call his son? Yeah, I said that, and I'm still waiting for somebody to refute what I said. I didn't say it, I just reported it, what they were saying, and I'm still waiting for somebody to refute about Obama. Nobody's refuted it yet. Yet still they're blaming me and saying that I did something. I love Malcolm. Everybody knows I love Malcolm. They know that. But what's doing? I can't tell the deal and let you know what they're saying? No. I don't have any time for people to try to catch up to me at that point. I wait 4 and 5 years, and then later on they come to me and tell me, hey, you know what I found? Good. I'm glad. I just awoke something in you. But you understand this. Feminism destroyed the family. What did it do? It engendered distrust in our women. It made the women believe that we were the cause of all their pains and suffering. They adopted that philosophy because they were then given the handouts from the government. They were given money to start their own business. This is to estrange them from their man. Then what did they do? They took all of the mid-level jobs, all of the manufacturing jobs, all of the jobs that allowed a man to create families. Men create families, not women. This so-called single parent family, there's no such animal. These women who are running families, they're not running families, they're running what I call survival units.
Man.
They're not family.
Okay, Doc. It's a TKO. We knocked him down 9 times in this fight.
But it's all love. I want you to understand it's all love. It's all love, brother. It's all love. It's just that a lot of people sometimes don't want to hear it. I can't help that.
No, and listen, people think you got to agree with everything. No, what you have to do is what, not Krishnamurti, but Bruce Lee, who was an acolyte of Krishnamurti, by the way. Bruce Lee said it himself. He says, take what you can use and leave the rest.
That's it.
It's just that simple. Like, see, we live in a society where we were raised and conditioned to want to be led. And what this brother is sharing with you right now is the keys on how to lead yourself.
Well,
Self-sovereignty, self-leadership. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Once again, Dr. Phil Valentine on May 30th has an amazing webinar that's going to go down. Dr. Phil, where can they find it, good brother?
well, at this particular time, they can go up to my Facebook, and those of you who are on our mailing list will receive the link in our newsletter. Just go up to our website, www.uksnow.org. When you go up to uksnow.org, you'll scroll to the bottom, you'll see the word contact. Go in there, put your email in the mailing list, and when we send out, but we're going to send it out multiple times, when we send out the flyer in our newsletter, you can then you can then click the link and then register. And like I said, please get in now, because the price will go up in the last week before the webinar. Okay? Again,
So
it's going to be about 8 hours. So don't eat too heavily so you fall asleep. We're going to throw down and give you as much information as possible that will help you through the next, coming up in 2030. Oh, by the way, we will be speaking about cryptocurrency. That's why we call it the crypto hypnosis. Okay? And we want you to understand what that means. Hey, listen, get into it, because they're going to teach you how to get into it now. We're going to show you which one that may be the one. Don't try with Bitcoin. You can go to Bitcoin now, but they're going to crash Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin ain't got nothing to give. It's only a storehouse. It doesn't have a utility. Okay? You want to go with coins that have a utility, a purpose, that these bankers and the banks are going to use. You can't help it. Unless you got the army to overthrow what's getting ready to happen, it's not going to happen. You're going to have to be able to deal with what's coming. And that's why they have to kill off as many people as possible.
Wow.
So in that lecture, I will be speaking about which cryptocurrencies will also be of benefit to you and why.
Wow. Hey, brother, thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate you. And you know this ain't the last time we're going to link up to sock 'em in the head.
Can you give my telephone number?
Yes, please.
Yeah, 800-847-1291. Again, 800-847-1291. And Brother Zoe, it's always a pleasure, brother.
Come on, man.
To speak with and build with a like spirit.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, I want you all, brothers and sisters, to understand this is a beautiful brother. This brother is taking his time to do the things he's doing. He could have gotten his job and went off and done what he had to do and said to hell with all y'all. But he's there, and he's on the front lines. And the man that's on the front lines need that protection, need the people to surround him, because he's bringing the show enough to you. Okay, this brother deserves your support. Please do so. And you heard it from me, if my words mean anything.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much, man. I'll be catching up with you later, bruh.
Take care of yourself, beloved.
All right.
Okay.
So, as I wrap, I'm just intrigued by all the knowledge, by all the information coming from all over the place, man. I'm just intrigued. And we're going to continue to do these types of Zolo Mansions. We're going to continue to bring on compelling, thought-provoking guests. And again, I just want you guys to support them and me. Speaking of that, listen, I need you guys to go to my website, theshroudedlighthouse.com, and get your pre-order copy of my new book, The Shrouded Lighthouse. Go to theshroudedlighthouse.com. Listen, if I can get 600 of y'all in here, if I can get 25 of y'all to do that for me right now, it would make this a meaningful day for me in terms of the pre-orders. We're trying to get to 500. We're at about 345. We've got 345 in the bank in terms of pre-orders. Those pre-orders will be autographed. The first 500 copies that are pre-ordered will be autographed. If I can get 25 of y'all, that's what, 4% of y'all? Can we get y'all to do that for your brother? Go to theshroudedlighthouse.com. Theshroudedlighthouse.com. If you appreciated the information today, if you appreciated my guest and myself and what we tried to convey today, please show your appreciation by going to my website, IamZoWilliams.com. Support all of the Black-owned businesses that I put in front of you. Hey, man, this is how we, pay each other's way, I guess, So nothing but love, nothing but appreciation to you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. Thank everybody who super chatted. Thank you guys for that as well. Even thank the people who gave us the thumbs down. We appreciate you all. Please continue to look out for your brother. TheShroudedLighthouse.com. TheShroudedLighthouse.com. Support, 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 support. Cash mob, cash mob, cash mob. Thank you so much. And we out. Oh, wait a minute. My homeboy came here on last notice. Ecor. Sarah's not here. My brother Ecor came in here to run this show for me, man. Ecor, put your Cash App up. I'm hoping that you guys will send him something, anything, all right? Send him anything. Like, if everybody can send him $1.
I'm shooting a music video tomorrow, so I'm funding it out of my pocket.
You funding your own music video right now. He's shooting tomorrow.
Directing it as well.
He's directing it and everything. Ecor is one solid dude, and he's from the Midwest. He's from Detroit, man. Most people I know from Michigan be solid. You feel me? This is a solid brother right here. Please, 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 Cash App, $IKKOR. Cash App him right now. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you for tuning in. I'm Zoe Williams. This has been Zolo. Deuces. That's his Instagram, too. Yeah.